Leading the ABHI's board challenge on regulation, or as I think we're describing it, enabling regulation, and enabling is an adjective rather than a verb there, is ABHI's chair, Phil Kennedy, who heads up Eschmann Technologies. Phil, it's no need to ask you why this is important. It's regulation is what we were set up to do 30 odd years ago now. It remains, and probably will always remain, singularly the most important thing we do for our members every day. So maybe just tell us about what are the real priorities in the regulatory area at the moment, and then maybe a thought or two on how your group is going about its work.
Yeah, you're right, Richard. I mean, it's been at the heart of our DNA as an association, as you say, for many years, and it's ever more important at the moment because of a lot of factors colliding together, not least political issues around Brexit, the recovery of the pandemic, and also just some of the changes within the technology itself. We seem to be on a pathway for ever increasing use of innovative technologies, and we want to encourage that by making sure that the regulatory system can keep up and can enable, clearly, most importantly, patient safety, but also, encourage entrepreneurs to come to market with innovation and not be put off by onerous barriers or indeed delays or complications. So we see regulations very much at the heart of everything we do, cutting across all the board challenges. But specifically on this topic, to simplify it, we've tried to create 3 buckets. And those are the impact on global regulation, making sure that the UK remains competitive and uses best practice from around the world. We absolutely don't believe the direction is to become isolationist and try and create a bespoke system that's right for the UK. Secondly is around future-proofing, which I touched on, the pace of new technologies. Digital is an obvious one, but also, 3D printing, drug and device combinations, and diagnostics are hugely complicated, and the regulatory frameworks that we create for the future need to be future-proof as much as possible. And the final bucket, if you like, is possibly the most important, and that is our drive to improving access to innovation. So making sure that regulation is safe, but is innovative in itself and agile, and improves the availability of the products that we love and we support in our sector to make them meaningful to the lives of patients, of which we all are. So those are the three major topics we're covering in this board challenge. Lot to cover, and it touches many stakeholders, not least ABHI members, and getting their input from both SMEs right the way through to corporates, but also, stakeholders like MHRA, the government, and other regulatory bodies around the world. So there's a lot of work to do.
Quite well, you mentioned 3 areas there, but that covers a multitude, as they said, isn't it? And it's very pertinent. We're recording this at the back end of September 2021. 2 live consultations on regulation at the moment. One's quite a technical one from Bayes about better regulation. And of course, a week before we recorded this, we had the long-awaited, which was very long-awaited, consultation on UK CA marking arrangements. So an awful lot to go at, Phil. Maybe just finally a word on the steps you've taken so far, and maybe what people can expect to see as outputs in the weeks and months ahead.
Yeah, well, I think that the first thing to say in terms of our immediate work, it's all around the consultation on the UK CA mark proposals, and we're really into the weeds with the transition period, the labelling impacts, the impact on digital, the IVD issues, which clearly we believe are separate to medical device issues, the sustainability agenda, which is another one of our board challenges, as you know, the gathering of evidence and the clinical research piece, as well as finally, as I mentioned already, the alignment with global systems. So those 7, if you like, deep dives are what we're focusing on at the moment on the consultation period, which lasts I think, till the early November, and we'll be then gathering evidence from both ABHI members and other stakeholders, putting that into a report that hopefully we'll be able to share. And hopefully we'll get your input as to your wordsmith skills together to make sense of it all. So yeah, there's a lot immediately on the horizon. Looking to next year, obviously the results of the consultation will then be out. We'll be into practical implementation of that UK system, as well as dealing with the impact of MDR changes, particularly around the IVD, which there are some big challenges for that sector. And as I said, we'll really be rolling our sleeves upon the future proofing and the alignment with global systems throughout next year. And that's at a more strategic level, perhaps, than what we're engaged in at the moment, which is very much making sure that the consultation goes well and everybody gets their voice heard.
Great, Phil, that's great, fascinating stuff. And thank you for your leadership on this challenge, which I suspect is more of a challenge than your leadership of the ABHI board overall. But thank you for that as well. And Phil, we look forward to seeing you again in the near future.
Thanks, Richard. We do have one or two other things to cover, but for another topic, another day. All right. All the best. Thanks.
Thank you.